changed everything. Well, almost everything. The BMW 5 Series, completely redesigned for model year 1997. And just a little more perfect. Stop dreaming. Start driving.
Rally Motors, your authorized BMW dealer.
This is CNN.
It's brought home the fact that we're all kind of mortal, here today, gone tomorrow.
Welcome to CNN's special presentation of Diana, Princess of Wales, a royal tribute. I'm Bernard Shaw. In a few moments, the coffin bearing Princess Diana will take her from her home at Kensington Palace for the very last time. And at the moment that coffin appears draped in the royal standard, there will be the sense, no matter where you are on this planet, there will be the sense of the heartfelt and tearful prayers of a nation mourning its princess. CNN will follow the horse-drawn procession step by step through the streets of London as Great Britain says goodbye. From Kensington to St. James's Palace, and then to Westminster Abbey for her funeral, and to her final resting place near her family's home at Althorp. England stands weeping. Within minutes, the body of Diana, Princess of Wales, begins its final journey. And by the tens of thousands, her countrymen and women have come. As far as the eye can see on this sunny, cloudless, but somber morning, the people of England are lining the streets of London. The people of the world are looking on. Together, all of us will watch, we will listen. Many will cry, many will pray. Soon the funeral bell will toll. Slow, measured. Once every minute, it will ring out. The sights and sounds of a day like this are seldom seen or heard, but they will always be remembered. Welcome to CNN's special presentation of Diana, Princess of Wales, a royal tribute. I'm Bernard Shaw. In a few moments, the coffin-bearing Princess Diana will take her from her home at Kensington Palace for the very last time. And at the moment that coffin appears draped in the royal standard, you will feel, no matter where you are, the heartfelt and tearful prayers of a nation mourning its beloved princess. CNN's Richard Blystone now reflects on why Diana has captured the hearts of the people.
Saturation. No wonder she's missed. She was there every day, like the stars in the sky or the fingers on your hand. Custom didn't stale her infinite variety. Like Shakespeare's Cleopatra, she made hungry where she most satisfied. Cleopatra with the Midas touch. Nobody else came close.
She was present at a function. Wherever she was, you would raise vast sums of money for the charity. Just her presence was enough.
Majesty magazine once reckoned Diana generated $23 million worth of free publicity every year just by consuming the trainers she wore, the mineral water she sipped, the car she drove. A female generation grew up wanting to be her. News and photographs of Diana, glamorous or scurrilous, could make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her death has made hundreds of thousands of mourners. What inspired this harvest of flowers stretched along the walls of St. James's Palace? By any normal measure, it is too much. What kind of magnetism pulls a tide of people to wait all night to sign their names? 1 million people, 1 million answers.
She just hit everyone's heart. She just was a normal person, as well as a royal. She was special.
Just her love for, firstly, her family, and then for other people. And I think that's what we can all learn from.
The fact that she was such a very loving mother and loved children so much touched a lot of women, especially throughout the world.
I liked her caring for minorities like children and people suffering from all kinds of illnesses.
She's a mother. I could relate to her in every way.
She went and visited places, and she went to help get rid of all the landmines. She's just wonderful.
Friends say Lady Di always wanted to be a princess, not knowing what that would mean. As she learned, we watched a gallery of Diana moments. In love?
Of course. Whatever in love means.
Cradling a baby born to be a king. Here you see something's wrong. Pictures at a monument to love that cried, I'm alone.
And to give me the time and space.
The withdrawal from the glare. That in-your-face hairdo as Diana casts herself as the royal rebel. The stumbles and scandals, the search for a purpose. And finally, a real role in the crusade against landmines. Papers now call her the People's Princess, as though to say the people's, not the palaces. Queen Elizabeth never knew what to do about Diana's scene-stealing charisma, and in truth, there was probably little she could do. The royals were working from a 19th century script, and Diana, born blue-blooded but not royal, was not a portrait of frozen rectitude. She was fun. And today, her flaws and foibles, bitchiness, bulimia, psychic healers, only make her more human. But surely she was not human enough, saintly enough, beautiful enough, or wise enough to warrant all this. Well, no icon before her dwelt in a media culture like today's, with myriad, unblinking, unsleeping eyes. Technology's windows through which people yearn to share glamorous lives, share them all the way to the bedroom, all the way to the grave.
We wanted then to know every bit. You know, she thought, like lots of personalities, you can turn the press on and turn them off. And very soon she discovered she couldn't, that if you invite them in, then they want to stay in.
For all that power to draw, to attract, to charm, to comfort, to inspire, within the Diana phenomenon, there was a person called Diana who was trapped. A real person who loved the attention but hated the scrutiny, whose touch was comfort but whose tongue was sharp, whose quest for a new love kept going sour. The idol of millions, and one of her most devoted pursuers kept asking himself,
Why is she always on her own? Why does she always go shopping on her own? I mean, you see her shopping in the most exclusive parts of London, Knightsbridge, Harrods, places like that, always on her own.
For Diana the person, things went out of control early on, and despite all her efforts, stayed out of control right to that Mercedes ride. She died trying to break out of the suffocating but protective envelope that surrounds a royal. She was the daughter of her time and the creation and victim of its technologies, appetites, expectations, and obsessions.
We'll never see anything like it again. In the days of the early church, they used to have a process of canonization, making a saint by acclamation. Well, that's what we've been witnessing in London. It's been Saint Diana.
If mourning Diana evolves into a cult of Diana, the woman who's lived in everyone's house may stay with us a while longer.
We are seeing movement at Kensington Palace, where Princess Diana lived with her two sons, William and Harry. Hundreds of thousands have waited in and around this area. One of the newspapers had an aerial photograph of Kensington Garden, and there's just a cascading carpet of flowers. There you see, almost in the middle of your screen, the horses. CNN's Donna Kelly is there. She's been there all morning. Donna, so many people yet relative stillness.
You're absolutely right, Bernie, and that's the way it's been at most of the places that I've been to. I was at St. James's and I was at Buckingham Palace, and I also am now this morning at Kensington. And for this number of people, Bernie, it's amazing, the people who are here, and there's not really very much talking in a normal tone of voice. People very reverent, very somber, and I suspect that that will get even more quiet as the funeral cortege gets closer to us. We have just a bare view, I can see, perhaps of some movement from our vantage point coming toward us here at Kensington Palace. I can see some of the people on the approach to Kensington Palace who are moving more toward the fence line and toward the gate and trying to get a look of their last view of the princess as she starts this long, sad journey to her final resting place. The one thing that some people had mentioned...
The night they died in the Paris accident Saturday night, I was going to say that there is so much going on along the cortege route. CNN's Richard Blystone talked with a woman who was watching the procession and trying to do something else. Let's listen in.
Good morning.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
What kind of day is this for you?
Very, very sad. Very sad.
Was Princess Diana really part of your life in some way?
Yeah, very much a part of our lives.
In what way?
In every way. In every way. She is the royal family. She really is.
Can you tell us what you're writing?
I'm just thinking when I'm sitting here what I'm going to write. I don't know. I'm just thinking when I'm sitting here.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Can you read it to us?
Just that's the people's princess. She'll always be remembered forever.
Opera singer Luciano Pavarotti, he was so overtaken upon hearing the word of Princess Diana's death that he simply could not sing in London. And a few days ago, Wednesday, his office sent word that while he would not sing at Diana's funeral, he would be here. He is here. At this kind of occasion, no one wants to be late. The funeral for Princess Diana will begin in 1 hour. And here at Westminster Abbey, dignitaries and friends continue arriving to be in place. Singer Elton John will be singing at this funeral. And this is something he wants very much to do. Also, another of Diana's favorites, George Michael, who arrived in London yesterday. No doubt you have heard that Elton John has rewritten the beginning lyrics of what he will perform. Candle in the Wind. And the opening line will go, "Goodbye, England's Rose. May you ever grow in our hearts." Outside Westminster Abbey, Big Ben pealed 9 o'clock in the morning here in London, and in some 57 minutes, the funeral for Diana, Princess of Wales, will begin. As the funeral cortege moves towards the top of Constitution Hill, very, very shortly it will be at Buckingham Palace, we mentioned the representatives of charitable groups. Let's go now to Brent Sadler. Brent?
Thanks, Bernie. Yes, Princess Diana was much involved with many charities, not least elderly people. I'm joined by Jill Manthorpe, who's come from the East Riding of Yorkshire in the north of England. She's from Age Concern. You met Princess Diana. What did you think about her role in the world of charity work?
Princess Diana will be much missed. Her work with older people was very highly valued in the United Kingdom and abroad. She had a great affinity with older people and really made them feel very special. I know that I speak on a lot of people who are involved in charity work in England in saying how much she'll be missed and how much we hope other people will contribute to the work that she was involved in.
Has there been anybody quite like her, or could there be anybody like her in the future who could gain so much attention for charities and their fundraising events?
I think everybody has a little bit of Princess Diana in them, and so we hope that many people will feel moved by the atmosphere here and throughout the country in getting involved in voluntary work.
What do you remember about the time you met her?
When I met Princess Diana, she was a very charming person who made a very moving speech about the needs of families with handicapped children, and that's again another area where she'll be much missed.
Do you think this event will help charities who have a strong association with the late Princess to continue their work and to remain in the limelight, or are they going to suffer badly as a result of her death?
No, I think people have been very much taken by the appeal that's been made on behalf of charities and are contributing already in great numbers to the work and hoping that her work will continue, particularly with people such as the homeless and people with AIDS who are often forgotten.
Jill Manthorpe, thanks for joining us. Back to you, Benny.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brent Sadler. Brent Sadler. The funeral will begin in some 55 minutes. Inside Westminster Abbey, invited guests continue arriving. There are very, very few politicians here. This clearly is Diana's funeral, and our analysts who are watching us as we report to you will have some things to say about that in just a short while. Every time 60 seconds go by, you hear the tenor bell. Everyone is moving very, very quickly now to get into place. The funeral cortege is moving along Constitution Hill, and in a short while we're going to come into the area where Buckingham Palace is. Then they will proceed to St. James's Palace. Right now, another landmark, Wellington Arch. Prime Minister Tony Blair, who before the House of Windsor responded to public pressures and criticism, Mr. Blair was very instrumental in defending the royal family as well as providing continuity. We recall he was the highest-ranking British official who spoke initially when the world was shocked by word that Princess Diana had died in the Saturday night Parisian accident. United States Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and his wife Nancy. There's one thing I want to point out to you, because once the funeral ceremony gets underway, you will not see this. Sir Richard Attenborough, famed movie director, we will not be seeing these kinds of close-ups. The Spencer family has requested that there not be close-ups such as this nature. So has the royal family. During the funeral, we will not be looking at close-ups. However, the Spencer family has said that when Diana's brother, Charles, the 9th Earl Spencer, and when her two sisters are speaking, the two sisters will be reading poems and her brother will give a tribute. When they are speaking, there will be shots of the Spencers. But beyond that, there will not be. And there are only two television networks inside Westminster Abbey, the BBC and ITN. The royal family, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, they are leaving Buckingham Palace. On the right, Prince Edward and Prince Andrew on the left. And I'm looking for the Queen Mother. I don't confirm seeing her, but of course one naturally would look for her. Nicholas Davies reminds me that most likely the Queen Mother will be coming by car. Not only is the sun glaring on the royals as they shield their eyes, but of course from our position here, high over the grounds of Westminster Abbey, there's a bit of sun glinting off our television screen, but also in this assemblage, the Duke of Kent,
There.
Nicholas, we're going to be seeing some royals we haven't seen publicly for some time.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the royal family do want to show the people, the nation, that they all care. And the word will have gone out for a 3-line whip for them all to be on parade today. The Royal House of Windsor has taken quite a lot of stick, as we know, this week, and desperately the Queen trying to push back the avalanche of criticism.
As the funeral cortege moves, we hear shouts. So many mourners realize this is their very last chance to speak to Diana. And as the coffin goes past them, we hear shouts along the line. Expressions of love. The tenor bell pealing every 60 seconds. The cortege moving down at 70 paces per minute. Watching this, among all our reporters, Richard Blystone.
Hello, Bernie. Well, the crowd and anticipation are growing here. The Queen Elizabeth has just arrived out in the street in front of Buckingham Palace, along with other members of the royal family, and drew a round of applause as she emerged from the gate. With her, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, also divorced from one of the princes. Sarah and Princess Diana were great pals, even before the time that they were married, and this certainly will be a heavy blow to Sarah Ferguson. We're expecting that the royal family will now move off to St. James's Palace. One way we'll certainly know that is when the standard comes down, the royal standard now flying above Buckingham Palace, and you will remember that there was some controversy over what was to be done with the royal standard. People wanted to see a sign of mourning and grief on the palace. There was none because tradition did not provide for it. That standard is only supposed to come down when the sovereign leaves, and even when a sovereign dies. It is supposed to stay up because, according to the old phrase, the king is dead, long live the king. The plan is now, when the Queen leaves for the funeral, the flag will go down, her royal standard. The Union Jack will go up to half-staff. As a gesture toward all the people who were out here. We were told a couple of hours ago, 10,000. It has been growing steadily since then. All kinds of people in all kinds of garb, from punk rockers to people in formal mourning suits. And from all nations, for that matter. From the United States and Japan and others, along with Britain. Curious thing about what happens at affairs like this in Britain, Bernie, they're generally left to be carried by the working class and the tourists. The upper middle and upper classes, I can remember from the Queen's Silver Jubilee 20 years ago and from the royal wedding in 1981, they left town for the country. You see here your picture of Princess Margaret, the Queen, Prince Andrew, the cortege coming down Constitution Hill as we speak, led by its police outriders, flanked by Welsh guardsmen, men on horseback from the King's Troop of the Royal Horse Artillery, who do the ceremonial gun carriage drills here.
As we watch the cortege move along, Nicholas Davies, Just seeing the royal family, led by the Queen of England, standing and waiting and standing is symbolic.
Oh, extraordinarily so. Never does the Queen wait patiently for something like this to occur. And the very fact that she has been seen waiting for Diana's cortege to come down Constitution Hill towards Buckingham Palace is remarkable. It is once again an effort on their behalf to show the nation that they really cared for Diana.
One thing that's quite remarkable about this event of this magnitude is that the media of the world are here, and information becomes known very readily. We've not been able to confirm it, but the Associated Press is reporting that some mourners indeed have collapsed out of grief just as the cortege was moving away from Kensington Palace. Let's go back to Whitehall, where Martin Savage has this.
Bernie, we just want to demonstrate how the simplest things have come to mean so much during this remarkable week. I don't know if you can tell, I'm holding in my hand a card from a simple deck of cards, but it's not just any card. It is the Queen of Hearts. In fact, the Queen of Hearts is seen around here quite a bit, and it's obviously considered to be synonymous with Princess Diana. And if they don't mind, I'm going to read you the inscription that's on the back that's been written. It says, "The Lord was one day gathering flowers. We stopped a while and gathered our Queen of Hearts. Love from Kathy and Lucy in Ipswich." Kathleen joins us. How did this come about? How did you get this?
My daughter made us return, one for my sister and one for myself, when she knew we were coming up.
And what does the Queen of Hearts mean to you?
Well, Di is the Queen of Hearts. She was and she always will be our Queen of Hearts.
What do you intend to do with this when the funeral's
Martin
over?
Savage, just let me interrupt you for a moment to point to the fact that the leader of the United States delegation, First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, is being escorted now into Westminster Abbey. Nicholas Davies, we now have seen Sarah Ferguson for about the third time there.
You notice also that the two little girls there are her daughters, Princess B and Eugenie. Also, that all the royals have now gathered. The Duke and Duchess of Kent are there, Lord Lindley, Princess Margaret, Princess Anne is there also, by the side of the Queen. And they are showing, by standing and waiting for the cortege to arrive, it is a remarkable tribute to Diana.
And if we see the picture of the Queen again, to her right is her younger sister, Princess Margaret. I can recall, and many of you around the world can recall, when the Queen was a very, very young lady, and her sister during World War II, they did a film to boost British morale and morale of all the Allies for that matter. And I recall as a little boy hearing now Queen Elizabeth saying, "Say good night, Margaret."
That's quite right.
And she said, "Good night." And Elizabeth said, "Good night." Outside Westminster Abbey, Brent Sadler.
Thanks, Bernie. The procession is scheduled to arrive by the Abbey door within the next half hour or so, where the coffin will be carried down the nave to rest before the high altar. A few moments ago, we saw America's First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton arrive. Inside Westminster Abbey now, the majority of the 1,900-strong invited congregation. The VIP guests have been arriving in tiers of layers of rank and structure, all walks of life. The royal family and the Spencers will be the last to arrive, the Queen driving by car from Buckingham Palace. The royal family and the Spencer family will be seated in the front pews on either side of the central aisle. Apart from a block reserved for ambassadors, seating is at random. It is a special mix of the formal and the informal, in keeping with the way that Princess Diana might have wanted it. The people all around Westminster Abbey are now crushed together. Some are listening to radios, others watching small television screens that they brought along with them. We've heard others playing solemn music on their own tape recorders. One of the most popular numbers we've heard drifting through the crowd here has been Candle in the Wind, the original version, not the updated version which singer Elton John will be singing later on this morning. It is a brilliantly bright day here, crystal clear blue skies. It's warm. People are waiting quietly, packed shoulder to shoulder, tens of thousands waiting outside the Abbey here. Bernie.
Thank you, Brent Sadler. Westminster Abbey, the entrance. As the cortege continues moving 70 paces per minute, every 60 seconds, the pealing of the dinner bell, and very, very shortly at St. James's Palace, we're going to see 3 generations of royals. We're going to see Prince Charles, the Duke of Edinburgh, father of Prince Charles, and here we come. On the right, Prince Harry, who will be 13 years old in a week or so. His dad to your left in the center of your screen, and Prince William walking behind. On the right is Princess Diana's brother, Charles, 9th Earl Spencer. He is to the right of Prince Charles. He is to the left of Prince Charles. Our executive producer, Sue Bunda, reminding me of my right and my left, Nicholas Davies. This is such a sad occasion for all of us at CNN. Would that none of us were here today to cover this. But be here we must. Prince William there on the left, Prince Harry there on the right, composing themselves with their hands clasped.
speaking about this level, if that's all right.
And now they are stepping off. This is an incredible picture. 3 generations from the House of Windsor. They are leaving St. James's Palace. On your left, Prince Charles, Duke of Edinburgh. And then Prince William. Charles IX, Earl Spencer, Princess Diana's brother. Diana's other son, Prince William, who, as we say, will be 13 years old in a week. And the father of these 2 young princes, Prince Charles. If you're just joining our coverage, the coffin of Princess Diana is moving now past St. James's Palace with her sons, their former husband, Prince Charles, and his father, also Prince Charles, having stepped in behind. These, the representatives, 5 each from 100 charities with whom Princess Diana was affiliated with, are very proud to be able to walk behind her coffin. The funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales, is less than 30 minutes from now. All of this has been timed meticulously, and even though the soldiers are moving out at 70 paces per minute, all of this has been timed. The Very Reverend Jonathan Jennings of the Church of England is here. It was good to see you earlier, about 2 hours ago, and as we get closer through this funeral, talk to